Welcome everybody. Today I've got a special guest with me today. Have got, I have got, I've got Mariah Mazza. I call her the Queen of the West. I call her the Queen of the West. I've been following Mariah now for about 5 years. It's been about 5 years. I've been following along on her coattails. I've been watching her. I've been listening to her. I've been reading her posts. I've been sharing her posts. So if you aren't following her yet, please follow Mariah. I inspire people to follow her because I love what she's talking about. I love the things she's saying. I love all these things about her, and I've spoken to her about 12 times, maybe a dozen times, in the last 5 years. And every time I speak to her, I learn a little bit more about her, and I like her more and more and more. And for that reason, I'm always going to align with her and encourage her and inspire her because I've been inspired by her. And so today I just want to introduce you to her and let you find out a little bit more about her and see if there's anything about her that you like. Because we're not about changing people's minds at all. We're only about presenting information. We're only about sharing. We're only about sharing information. That's all that we can do. We can't make anybody change their minds. We can't do that. We can only share our own truth, our own light. We can only share what's happened to us, what we know for ourselves. And what I know for myself is I've been following this lady for 5 years. I really like her. I like what she talks about, and I want to today explore a little bit about where she comes from, how she got to be thinking and talking about the things she's talking about, why she talks about them, and what she's doing now, like with the rest of her life, like what she's dedicated the rest of her life what she's sharing. Well, what's important? What's really important, Mariah? Tell me.
Freedom.
Freedom.
Freedom. Health is freedom.
Health is freedom. Awesome. Health is freedom. Why do you say this?
Well, without health, life is a diminished version of what it could be. When you feel good, you treat everyone around you better, you feel better. When you feel good, then you're having the ultimate experience. I've been there. I've felt bad for many, many years. And I can tell you that most of the focus is just trying to function every day. And you're missing out. You're missing out if you're not feeling good.
So would you say then that a lot of people are missing out?
I would, yes. And like I said, I've been there, so I can recognize it. But when you're dealing with severe adrenal fatigue, or you've got a headache, or you're just feeling not quite like yourself, the days just pass you by and you're not living in the moment. In fact, you don't even know what that means until you can bring your body into a certain state of health where you can kind of take a step back and see these things. So, I mean, it may sound, may not resonate with some people what I'm saying, but with others it will, especially those who are on the path to getting well and they're getting glimpses into, what it feels like to feel good. Because when you're healing, you go through these ups and downs, but you get pieces and glimpses into what it feels like to be healthy, and that's what motivates you to keep going. But so it's a path, it's a journey.
So I think that path and that journey for everyone starts in a different way. I think some people, a lot of people come to it because they're gaining weight. Like you know, and then, you know, they try to put on their bathing suit and they don't want to go out because they're ashamed of how they're looking, or a little bit. They have to change the way the clothes they choose to wear, or the jeans that they have to wear, or they're getting a different size. So it shows up in our weight, or it often can show up in our physical pain. Like I had physical pain in my body.
You have, or you had?
I still have little bits of it, but
Yeah.
but I used to have a tremendous amount of physical pain in my body.
Yeah, so it takes time to work through, but you're getting glimpses of what it feels like to feel good. I mean, pain is just acids, right? So it's just depends on what we're doing. And you work out a lot, so you also obviously you're kicking up the lactic acid.
I'm moving a lot of that those acids that are stagnant in the body, the trapped acids that are stagnant in the lymphatic system. I'm moving a lot of that around. I'm a very active person, but this is it, that the symptoms of disease or lack of health, anyways, they can show up in weight, they can show up in pain, they can show up in disease, they can show up in illness. I had digestive problems, I had sleep problems, I had mood problems, I had financial problems, I had emotional stuff, I had trauma. There was a lot of things in my life that weren't right and were out of natural balance and out of natural order. And I had to come back into natural balance and natural order. And that can only happen, I think, by observing natural, healthy ways and things. And to truly do it, we're talking about creating a natural balance, a new natural balance in our body. It's not about a medication. It's not about a doctor. It's really becoming our own doctor, isn't it?
Exactly. Yeah. There are no quick fixes. And that's why you can't just go to a doctor and expect any of your problems to be solved. It takes dedication. It takes a daily effort. It's not just a visit to the doctor.
It's the practice. Like, this is it. People say, oh, I already did a fast, or I tried a fast. I did a 21-day fast, or I did a 10-day fast, or I did a 3-day fast. Is that what it is? Is it just doing a fast?
No, that's part of it, but true health will, inevitably be filled with many fasts throughout your journey, hopefully, even if they're short ones. Nobody has to engage in long fasts to obtain true health, but one day a week, or at least every day, skipping a meal, things like that. That's
fasting. It's a stopping and starting. It's a stopping and starting of life. Like, I mean, fasting is how we make decisions and change things in all aspects of our life. Whether we're fasting from the computer, or fasting from our phone, or fasting from a negative relationship in our life, or fasting from a food, or fasting from a behavior or a substance, coffee or alcohol. Taking a fast, taking a break from something negative, it's just making a different decision. It's choosing a different intention, right? I'm changing my direction, stopping and starting, making a different decision.
Exactly. Today I'm going to likely just drink this distilled water, and if I really have to, I'll go in for an orange juice later, but other than that, it's a food vacation for one day. It's just,
I like that.
I heard what you said a long time ago, and I really resonated with it. You said, sometimes you just got to stand up to hunger. And I thought, yeah, you know what? Just stand up to it. It's just a day. Like, really, stand up to hunger, deal with it. And the next day, you're going to reap the rewards. So
stand up to hunger, and that desire could be in any aspect of your life. Just stand up to it in all aspects of your life. Take back your power in all aspects of your life. That's what we're talking about here. This is an empowerment program. This is a self-love and empowerment program.
yes.
So health is one aspect of it. It's like we get healthy as we give ourselves self-care and give ourselves self-love. We actually get healthy.
But did you notice that as we bring our bodies into health, the other aspects fall into line? Your thinking changes. Everything that goes on in your outside life begins to improve because you're improving your inner terrain. So it all goes hand in hand. It really does. Yin and yang, as above, so below.
I really like what you said there about the terrain. We have to mention that a little bit. I think we should.
All right.
We got to talk about the terrain because I believe that this information was at the forefront of health and wellness. I believe it was in between 1930s and 1950s that we were exploring germs, disease, the germ theory. We were thinking that our problems were perhaps microorganisms, and that's really what is the problem, is because always when we see sickness, illness, and disease, these microorganisms are there. So we think that the microorganisms are the cause of the disease. And right. I can understand the logic there. It's the germ theory, and it makes there is some logical sense there. However,
we need to dig a little deeper and realize that they're there to do a job, but they're there because you invited them there somehow on some level. So
take responsibility.
Yeah, well, the medical system makes it easy for people to not take responsibility and to think that it's an outside source. And that kind of makes them feel better in a sense, because if they did have to take responsibility, it's a long road to recovery, unfortunately. But it can be an enjoyable road if you embrace it and if you learn the truth.
And get into alignment with it, right? We're talking about getting into alignment with the truth, the real natural truth that's here.
Exactly. I mean, I've fought many things along the way. You know, I was like, oh, I have to give up this now, like, really? But then afterwards, once you do, a whole new world opens up, and there's abundance in other areas you never imagined or saw.
Just a little shift, isn't it? A little shift.
Yeah. So it's not really always about
forever.
Well, none of us do know that, do we? We're not there yet. So what do you got going on in that garden right there?
You know, this garden is really just a fern garden. It's just a being out in nature. You know, it's just a space to just be out in nature and interacting naturally.
Nice.
Interacting naturally. You know, this
I've
is
got
what
my
we need to
indoor
do.
garden.
I love it. I love it. We need, you know, when we breathe in, we take in the nourished oxygen from the plants. And when we breathe out, we give our nourishing carbon dioxide to the plants. So, you know, being in nature, being natural is a giving and taking, is a sharing, it's a back and forth. It's a masculine and feminine. It's both. It's being inspired by, and then using that inspiration to inspire again. So it's a leaning of two energies. There's always two energies here. A balancing of these two energies is what we're talking about. Natural health. We're talking about natural wellness. We're talking about self-care. We're talking about self-love, and we're talking about nutrition and how to do that nutritionally. I think that's really what you talk about. You know, how to take care of yourself, how to balance yourself, and how to do that nutritionally. What are the things that you share with your customers, with your clients, with your family, with, you know, with your friends on Facebook? What's at the root of your message, Mariah? Where does it come from? Why are you doing it? Why are you saying it?
Well, simplify. Simplify is really at the core root of the message, because we're so conditioned to think that we need certain substances for certain things, and we're always looking for something to take. And my core message is more about simplifying and just returning to simplicity. You'll reap a lot of benefit and reward if you truly grasp what this really means. And I would say that that's, you know, one of the biggest messages I try and drive home, because when people do come to me, it seems that they're on all sorts of pharmaceuticals and a ton of herbs and a ton of vitamins and a ton of supplements, and they're eating this for that, and they're trying to cram everything in, thinking that they need a myriad of different substances to be healthy, but yet they're not finding that health that they so desire. So I help them to simplify their life. I help give them peace of mind. I help diminish the fear of not taking those things, and I help them help themselves, really. So
it's more of a removal. It's more of a removal of things, isn't it?
I would say so, for the most part. I mean, there's the odd person that, you know, needs to go through being dependent for a certain amount of time, but if they have the intention to let it go, it's still about the removal eventually, slow titration. So
it's freeing the being. Coming to health is actually freeing the being of limited thoughts, beliefs, ideas, and freeing the being of, like, actually even habits, like things that you have to do, thinking that I have to eat this or get that protein or get that vitamin or get that thing, thinking that I need something outside of me to be healthy, happy, or well. Like, I need this car, this house, this wife, these kids. I need something outside of me to be happy and well. And I think that the natural health message is no, like, click your heels together, like, recognize the power that you have. Like, you're the one that's empowering that food or that chemical or that substance or that habit over top of you, that person, that thing. You're giving your power away. It's all about reclaiming your power. It's empowerment and self-love. Truly, this is the natural health message.
and it's about re-educating ourselves, because unfortunately, with every nutritionist and doctor and scientist and all this information that's contradicting each other that's out there, that's leaving people in states of confusion and disarray, we need to put all that aside and we need to recognize it for what it is. And there are confusion programs and misinformation and contradictions, and you know, there's not a million different truths when it comes to the foods that we're designed to eat, and we're not all designed differently. We may be functioning differently due to our lifestyle choices and our dietary choices, but at the end of the day, we need to learn for ourselves the truth and be able to weed through the BS, which is, I think, the hardest part for most people, because everybody's information that's out there sounds so compelling and sounds so like it could be it. And so we have people swimming in worlds of keto diets from just so many different things that they've tried and that they're trying, and none of it's working. And you know, and I find that's the biggest obstacle, is just to return to simplicity, re-educate yourself, and to let go of all the misinformation, just to let it go. That part's very difficult.
But then it's not only food. I mean, it is food, but it's also movement and it's intention and it's goals and it's aspirations and it's thinking about what you want to create. So it's nutrition, but it's also intention and it's imagination and it's also practice. Like, it's not just to go for a fast, but to practice this as a routine, as a ritual, as a daily habit. Like, this needs to become into our lifestyle. We need to establish something that, you know, it needs to be something that we love, first of all, because if we don't love it, we'll never stick with it. You know, it's got to be about ourselves. We've got to love ourselves. It's got to be in alignment with ourselves, with our true nature, with our true natural flowing energy.
But you also have to be prepared to go through the bad to get to the good, so to speak. So it's not all, you know, rainbow and sunshine when you're changing every aspect of your life, in a sense, to get on the road to health. So I mean, it is about all of that, but at the same time, we have to be willing to go through a certain amount of I guess you could say pain or suffering, in order to
step out of the comfort zone a little bit, right? We have to we have to be able to embrace the discomfort a little bit, kind of sing in the rain a little bit, because, you know, we were singing when we were putting all the junk in for 10, 20, 30 years. Yeah. Well, now we got to get it out. So now when it comes out, it's not all going to be roses on the way out.
As long as you can recognize the process and be willing to go through that, you know. I mean, every time I had a headache from detoxification, at least I knew this time the headache was leading to one less headache in life down the road instead of more, which was the case in my 20s and 30s, right?
Like, I got to work this stuff through. Like, if I took pills to cover up my headaches for 10 or 20 or 30 years, if I ate certain foods and did certain things to cover up headaches or overcome relationship problems or way to cope with work issues or financial problems, if that's the way my coping was with food or with habit or with substance, then, you know, now I'm going to have to learn how to cope with that in another way. So after I start to remove that thing and I start to reduce that negative frequency, that poor vibration habit in my life, as I start to reduce the negative foods, as I start to reduce the cooked and processed foods, the lowest vibration foods, the low density foods, as I start to reduce those low density foods and habits and behaviors in my life, you know, that's changing my energy. And as I start to change my energy, now things start to change around me. So my relationships can change, my financial relationships can change, my personal relationships can change, my relationship with myself can change, the thoughts I have may change, my imaginations may change. I may feel different energy and inspiration in my life. My life starts to change because I'm engaging in rituals, daily practices, habits that lift up my frequency and my vibration. I start stepping into something that rises me. Start getting into a habit, a natural flow that rises me, that lifts me up, right? I start practicing daily things that lift me up.
Nice. Yes.
Makes me feel better.
Well, for myself, I would agree, but it was a process for me to even get to the point where I could engage in any type of exercise or health promoting practice where it wouldn't overtax my body and cause me more headaches, basically. So, I mean, it took me a couple of years to even be able to get into, you know, longer walks and deep breathing and stretching and things like that, because in the beginning, when I was trying those healthy practices, I was just stirring up acids so quickly and easily that it would put me out for a day. So, I mean, everything's got to be taken in steps, right?
And everyone's at a certain level. And everyone's at a certain level. So maybe they're just at a point where making the nutritional changes is enough. Maybe just sitting outside in nature and breathing is enough. Maybe just getting your bare feet on the ground is enough. Maybe light movements, maybe balance, maybe
Yes.
stability, maybe flexibility, maybe strengthening with lengthening, maybe just a little balance, maybe a little to and fro. It doesn't have to be an overexertion. Like I made the mistake for many, many years in my life that exercise was about tearing down the body. And I think this is a huge mistake with exercise, that exercise isn't supposed to be about breaking the body down. This is what we've been told the last 50, 60, 70 years, that exercise is like tearing the body down so that it's going to rebuild itself back stronger and better. And I completely disagree. Exercise is to stimulate the body, only to stimulate. And to stimulate the body to breathe. It's to get the body breathing. It's to get the body's hormones into balance. If we exercise when we're empty, we're doubling the effect of the fast. Like fasting alone raises growth hormone levels. Fasting alone changes brain neurotransmitters. Serotonin and dopamine is affected by fasting. Adrenals are affected by fasting. If we combine fasting and movement together, then we intensify it even more. We double it again. So wonderful to put together, but of course has to be appropriate, and it has to be the right level. So the intensity level to create change is about movement. It's about balance. It's about stretching. It's about breathing. It's a low intensity level. And as we get stronger and more fit, then we can do more high dynamic strength training activities. But that's for down the line. Or maybe if we're 20 or 30 and we want to, be Mr. Muscle Man or be a professional athlete in the Olympics or something, then you're taxing your body that way. But for the general person that's just trying to have, happier, healthier love and care for themselves, a happier and healthier relationship with their husband or wife or their girlfriend or their boyfriend, better relationships with their kids, with their friends, with their families, making more money, having more energy at work, having more energy to give and to share with themselves and with those around them. This is about coming into an intention. This is about thinking about rising our energy. This is about moving around in our life, navigating in our life, not by lifting 400 pounds or ripping our body apart, but just to moving through our life, which is natural movement, playing soccer with my kids, playing basketball with my kids, going for a walk. It doesn't have to be, it could be a bike ride. It could be out in the garden, just stretching, just reaching for the floor and reaching for the sky. It just means getting in contact with nature. It's just a breath. It's just an intention. It's just a movement. It's a practice. It doesn't have to be annihilating at all. It needs to be inspiring. It needs to be inspiring for the being, for each individual. Everyone can meet it at their own level and engage with their own natural health in their own personal way.
Well said.
Had to be said.
Yep.
So now, are you telling people then that they shouldn't eat meat, dairy, alcohol, coffee? Is that the message? Is that the natural health message?
I don't tell anybody what they should and shouldn't do. I do provide information though, and if they choose not to eat meat because it's a stimulant and it's putrefactive and can cause parasite overgrowth within the body, or if they choose not to eat dairy because it's very mucus forming and it's actually designed for a calf, to grow a calf into a beast within a year, and the hormones are just all out of whack for the human consumption. Or if they, choose not to eat eggs for those same reasons because they're sticky and constipating and definitely build health in the body over time. That's their choice. I only provide information, what I've uncovered, and I uncovered this information, mind you, when I lived on a farm. So, I was living on a farm with the pasture raised chickens and with the raw milk and with the organic grass-fed beef and pork. So, you know, that's why I'm so passionate about sharing this information, because I was living it when I learned it, so to speak. But
So
I just share.
you were eating natural, healthy, organic meats and dairy, and you weren't finding health there?
Yes, so I moved from the city to a 7-acre farm in the Okanagan of British Columbia. And I moved there because I wanted to know where all my food was coming from. You see, I was awake to the horrors of factory farming and to the unhealthy products that were out there. So I wanted to know where all my milk was coming from, my meat, my eggs. And so going to this farm, it was all organic. And so, like I said, I had the raw milk. I was making raw yogurts, raw cheeses. I thought at that time that meat and eggs and dairy and animal products were healthy. That's why I moved to the farm, so I could have the healthiest of the healthiest animal products. But at that time, my health just kept declining, and I couldn't figure out why my health issues weren't improving. I mean, I had raw milk. Isn't that supposed to be the miracle food? But and all the food, you know, I wasn't eating. I never ate out in restaurants ever. I cut out fast food a long time ago. I didn't eat anything. Most days, everything on my plate was from the farm. Everything, except for maybe, you know, the salt. But yeah, so I wasn't healing, and so I had to dig deeper. I had to dig deeper for answers, and they did come. And at that point, I eliminated all animal products and meats and eggs and dairy overnight from my diet, found homes for the animals, and moved on from the farm. And that's when I began to heal. It took a drastic change, though, a drastic dietary change. Now, I don't suggest everybody, you know, just eliminate everything that is potentially building toxins in the body overnight. I mean, a gradual approach is often best. But for myself, after learning the truth, and because I didn't actually enjoy milking cows, I didn't actually enjoy killing things or taking their eggs anyways, it always felt weird to me and unnatural. But I did it because I was conditioned and programmed to believe that we needed those foods for health. And so I just went along with it. And once I realized I didn't have to go along with it, once I discovered that these foods are building my health issues, they're not healing me in any way, I was happy to let it go. See, I didn't crave meat after I let it go, because I knew too deeply what it does to the body. I didn't crave eggs, I didn't crave milk, because I knew that it was a form of poison for the body. And I care about myself and my health, and I too much. So I just, you know, I had no problem letting those foods go. For some people, I understand it's a struggle, but for myself, I was more than happy to let it all go.
And this is it. And everyone's at a different place, right? And if we've got a certain amount of motivation, like if we've got a certain amount of pain, like you said, you had sickness in your body. Similarly, I was in a point in my life where I was in like a lot of discomfort, physical pain, emotional pain, financial pain. There was a lot of things in my life that were just not going right for me. And I recognized that I had to take responsibility and change my life. And I had to change the way I was living and the way I was interacting with my life. So I had to change the way I was moving and exercising. I had to stop ripping my body apart in the gym. I had to embrace a more loving exercise program, or more gentle movement program, a balance and lengthening, strengthening type of program, a breathing type of program. I call it emotion. And I also had to change my food drastically. I had to get away from that meat and dairy lifestyle. I had to get away from eating a lot of meat and dairy and cooked and processed foods and starches and proteins. Like, I was living that way for 30 years. The result was I was in pain, unhappy, and everything in my life was really falling apart until I started to move to spend more of my time and more of my life and my daily week, my day-to-day time in the raw food lifestyle. So shifting away from the cooked and processed foods, minimizing that part of my life physically, shifting physically my exercise from destructive movements to really encouraging and inspiring movements, breath and intention, inspiration, imagination, coming to the right energy every single day, thinking about the energy that I want, beginning with the end in mind in the morning and at the end of my day, building new, happy, healthy habits for my life that were of higher frequency and higher vibration. This is how I moved myself away from where I was, to feeling 1,000% better, happier, healthier, lighter, lower body fat, and in more balance with all of my relationships, financially, substance wise, and with all the people in my life. Just growth in every single aspect of my life came as I shifted away from the dead, cooked, processed foods to live foods. In particular, I think we come in agreement there. Where do you think the most life and most energy and the most value is for human nutrition?
In the fruits. Most definitely. I mean, there's a lot to be said for greens, well, I believe, but the fruits are the highest form of nutrition. You know, we humans, I'm fully, I don't like to say I believe because I've proved it to myself, but we're designed for fruits. Unfortunately, the fruits are not the way nature intended for the most part if we're getting them from the grocery store, but we're designed for fresh, ripe, local, healthy, organic fruits. Water rich, hydrating, mineral, vitamin rich fruits. They digest the easiest within our bodies, and they're just highly, highly nutritional for us, hydrating. But what were you going to say?
They eliminate the best. They eliminate the fastest. They contain the astringent acids that we need to break up, the plaque in the lymphatic system. It's really that we've got a population that's gotten stale. The lymphatic system has gotten stagnant. Reference Dr. Morris and the work of Dr. Morris. Grateful for Dr. Morris. We've got a body that has a blood system, a circulatory system, that brings nourishing food around the body, that brings nourishing oxygen around the body. But we've also got this elimination system, this lymphatic system, which is in charge of our waste. And because we've been eating 3, 4, 5 times a day for 20, 30, 40 years, we've actually got a buildup of this toxins and acidosis inside of the body. It's trapped in the lymphatic system, and we need to clear that. That's elimination, that's waste. That's got to be eliminated through the digestive system, through the colon, through the small intestines, through the bowels. We've got to cleanse out these organs. We've got to release what's become toxic inside the cellular walls, inside of all of our cellular walls. And a lot of our organs are not functioning. A lot of our hormones are not functioning and out of balance because of acidosis, toxicity inside of the body from incorrect foods for 10, 20, 30, 40 years. We need to detoxify the body.
Said. Yeah, it's just a buildup, an accumulation that we don't realize is going on because we're just taught to eat 3 to 5 meals a day, and we don't think that, maybe that's a little much and digestive rest can really help. We're taught that as soon as we feel a little hunger, which actually isn't hunger at all, it's just acids, moving around, but we attribute that to hunger,
There's something wrong with being hungry. Like it's bad to be hungry. Like it's a sin to be hungry.
Yeah, but
every itch you got to scratch,
Well, let's try and scale it back there.
I'm married and I'm out and about and I see a pretty lady. I feel like I want to talk to her. Like, like every itch is not to be scratched, right?
Types of commitments, you know,
Every
we've
itch
got to
is not to
honor
be
our
scratched, right? We know we can feel inspiration, and we can take that energy up, and we can share that energy in a different way in our life. We don't have to share it with sexual interaction. We don't have to share it with smoking. We don't have to share it with drinking. We don't have to share it with eating. We don't have to share it with fucking. We don't have to share it with anything. We can share it with ourselves. We can give love to ourselves. We can bring our energy up within ourselves and express it out with our voice, with our intentions, with the things that we think and say and do. It doesn't have to come out sexually. It doesn't have to come out nutritionally. It doesn't have to come out with a physical action. Just because someone says something to me doesn't mean I have to punch them.
no.
I can dodge. I can move away. I can deflect. I can move away. I can respond
Yes,
rather than react to my life. This is
we
what
all,
people are doing. They're reacting by eating or drinking. It's time for coffee. It's time for breakfast. It's time for lunch. It's time for another coffee. It's time for a glass of wine to go to bed. It's time for my medication. It's time for what the doctor told me to do. It's time for what somebody else told me to do, instead of ever listening to the own doctor inside of myself. It's like I have to find my internal
yeah,
wisdom.
and people are so scared. Yeah, exactly. And people are so afraid to say no or to refuse what's being offered or to stand out or to look different. And that I can see a lot of people not wanting to rock the boat. You know, I had no problem just, you know, going to say a dinner and saying, you know, and just eating the veggies only. And you know, I had no problem standing out in that way, but a lot of people do. They don't want the confrontation. They don't want to look different. And that I find is one of the main reasons people do not continue with this lifestyle. They may have been feeling improvements even, but the social pressure and the family pressure is just too difficult for them to navigate through. They're not strong enough yet. And so they give in and they eat the meat.
And you know what? For this reason, I've made my program more about a balance rather than about an elimination. So I tell people, you know what? If you haven't let go of that yet, okay, here's what you do. You do that on the weekend, and Monday to Thursday, we try not to engage in that. We try to reduce it. You know, it's not going to be an overnight switch for everybody. Some people it is. Some
Yeah,
people, you know, they recognize the truth. It all clicks for them. You know, I was similar. It all made sense. I read Dr. Arnold Ehret's book, and I saw the light, and I'm like, whoa, I need to move in this way. But that may or may not happen for everybody. But if that's the case, if that's not happening for you, well, here's the way to introduce yourself to it. Look, just choose the higher frequency thoughts, words, habits, actions, behaviors most of the time.
yeah,
You know,
that's a
4 days of the week.
excellent approach. And
Thank
I
you.
do that as well. Or you can offer, you know, healthy food swaps, you know, just teaching people how to make a little bit better choices. You know, you can swap the white rice for the brown rice, and then you can go to the wild grain rice, and then you can go to the cauliflower rice, and eventually it just gets better and better. You improve your situation systematically, but you don't have to do it overnight. And with each improved choice, you feel a bit better, and it empowers you to keep going. So
Let it happen. Let it evolve over time. So I like to introduce people with a free 10-day process so that they can experience it. And in that 10-day process, I share all of the stuff that I share in my 12-week coaching program. I try to let everyone have an experience. They can have a free experience because listen, natural health, it's free. Truthfully, natural health is free. Like the
yeah,
natural healthy energy that's here, it's all around us. It's available for every single one of us. Fruits and vegetables are free for every one of us. We can grow them in our own yard. I mean, really, natural health is something that we can find and create for ourselves if we truly want. So I do offer a 10-day free trial, right? that this is all a part of my 10-day free trial. You know, get the experience of natural health, get the raw foods, get the fasting, get the movements, get the balance, get the stability, get the breath work, get the meditation, you know, get around people that are doing that, get inspired by others that are doing that, get into a collective group, make friends, associate with people that are doing that. That's how I was able to be successful with it, is to get myself around it. Being around someone like Mariah, for instance, is someone that helps me come forward, helps to pull me forward. I like to interact with her. She inspires me. I like to keep in touch with her. I like to make myself accountable to her. I like to make myself accountable to people. That's how I like to move forward, by telling people what I'm trying to do. That's how I make myself accountable to them. This is my goal. This is what I want to do. This is what I'm trying to do. I put it out there. I make myself accountable by opening it up to more people. That means more beings are involved. When there's two or more come together, there's more power there. So, you know, I really like Mariah. I really like you. I really like your message. I really like what you're doing. I'd like to work with you more. I would love to try and collect with you for like an event in September. Like, we should have like a 7 or a 10-day free event where you and I are just kind of sharing nutrition, exercise, movement, mindset, accountability, you know, all natural things, grounding, getting out into nature, getting out into the sunlight, all things that are natural that people can do that will help them to be a better version of themselves.
Excellent. Yes. I jive with that idea. I
You're in,
resonate.
you're in alignment. You're in alignment with that. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. And if we're both in alignment with that, then, you know, we can freely be inspired by each other and work toward that, with that intention that, you know, we're creating a healing circle for our own self, and we're creating a healing circle for anyone else that wants to join in and make change in their life, step into their very best self.
Most definitely.
When
Yes.
we do it with our self-love, we do it with our self-empowerment, we do it with our intentions, our thoughts, our words, our actions, and we do it with our dialogue and our words, and we share it together, and then we share it with Canada. Like, this is what I like about you, you know, on top of everything else, is that you're also Canadian,
Yeah.
feminine Canadian energy from the West, and I'm from the East. So the King of the East and the Queen of the West are coming together. Masculine and feminine are coming together. It's an alchemical marriage, that we're coming together with an intention to do something loving together for each other and for, you know, for Canadians.
Nice. Yes. Canadians are stepping out. Stepping up.
Yeah. Let's do it for the nation. You know, let's summon the nation. Let's get behind the nation. Let's get behind the power of our nation. Let's intend to inspire our nation, and let's do that together.
All right. Well, I'll definitely contribute whatever I can.
All right. So we'll plan this for September 21st and the 7 to 10 days around there, and we'll finalize all the final dates and all of the final presentations and all of it, and we'll come together again to let Mariah hopefully share some more about her story, I hope.
Yes.
And
I can talk. I really can.
share more about what her message is.
Yeah, it's been an interesting journey, and it's definitely worth, you know, listening to other people to see exactly where you can take things for yourself as well, you know. So
It's growing. It's about growing from each other. If one shines the light, it inspires another to shine the light.
yeah.
Iron sharpens iron. It's, you know, sword sharpens a sword. It's when we try to go for our best, we inspire the best in others. Awesome. Thanks so much for this interview time with me today, Mariah. I'm so glad I've made relations with you.
Yeah, thank you, John. I mean, thank you for all you're doing, and you are an inspiration. You do help to uplift others with your positive and shining attitude. So
I got a shiny attitude.
you do.
Thank you so much. I will keep in touch with you on Messenger, and we'll connect again next week, I'm sure.
Sounds good.
Okay.
Bye.
Bye.
That was live on Facebook.